Thank you, Marcia. Thank you so much for putting this together. It's incredibly important. That's why, obviously, well, at least 3 of us are here to speak with you today. You know, I just want to say very quickly, we've gotten to know each other pretty well throughout this race. And what I'm amazed at, you know, I'm one of 10 kids, and I have 4 older brothers, so they've become like my 4 older brothers, I have to say. My parents gave me very good training. I am one of 10 kids. I'm the 7th of 10. My parents had 4 boys and 6 girls, and I can tell you that they treated each of us equally, focusing on education as the great equalizer, and focusing their children on doing something to give back to their community. I've always chosen to do that as in my efforts to be a voice for those who didn't have a voice, and I have done that as a legal advocate as a prosecutor for almost 19 years. After law school, I went to work in Brooklyn, in the Brooklyn DA's office, and advocated on behalf of victims of child abuse and domestic violence and murder and rape and robbery, and then was able to advocate on behalf of victims of federal crimes, like so many of the ones that we're seeing now involving financial crimes, public corruption, federal gun and drug cases. And in 2005, I had the opportunity to take my then 14 years of experience and run for an office that is any lawyer's dream job besides this one, which is obviously why we're all fighting over it so strongly. And that is the DA in my home county of Nassau County, where I grew up. And I'm sure that a lot of women in this room are very familiar with the man that I beat. His name was Dennis Dillon, and he was, yeah, boo. He was, as described to me, as anti-choice as you can get and unbeatable. And he was someone who used the power of his office to promote his anti-choice agenda, which is offensive on so many levels, and not just because I'm a woman. But I took on the challenge. I beat Dennis Dillon in the Republican machine and began to focus on the issues that matter to people in the county of Nassau, similar to the issues that matter to people all across this state. The epidemic of drunk driving, we've become a leader on that issue and how we deal with keeping our roads safe and punishing the worst of the worst drunk drivers. Putting a focus on the white-collar bureaus in the office as a result of my experience as a federal prosecutor, creating an economic crime unit, creating a Medicaid fraud unit to address issues of abuse of taxpayer dollars through public corruption unit that I put more resources towards, and coming up with tough, smart on crime initiatives that actually, in partnership with the community, resulted in a reduction in crime. So came into last year and was overwhelmingly reelected, again beating the Republican machine in a sea of defeat for incumbent Democrats, in large part because I addressed, made a number of promises and kept them, and that, I guess, unfortunately has become something that people don't expect from their public officials. But I want to talk about some of the other things that I was able to do in the DA's office that I feel were so important, and that was bringing a level of diversity into the office that the office had never seen. I was the first woman ever elected DA in Long Island's history. So I was the first woman to serve as DA. I appointed the first 2 women executives ever in the office's 112-year history. There had never been a woman executive. Out of 12 managers are now women, where before it was 2. And I have completely eliminated a gender pay gap, a 30% gender pay gap that existed between men and women in the office. That is gone. And what I quickly realized was that that pay gap was able to exist because there was no career mobility, upward mobility for women in the office, for people of color. That has completely changed now, and we put the office back on track to reflect more accurately reflect the community that we serve. So I'm very proud of the initiatives that I have made in that regard, because that is the, 1 minute? Oh, I thought you had a question. Okay, all right, I gotta whip through real quickly why I'm running. I'm running because I believe that I can help restore the confidence that we need in our state government. 80% of New Yorkers feel that their government is dysfunctional, and you can't blame them. I would have to count myself within that 80%. So we need to push ethics, governmental, and political reform in Albany. I am in a unique position to do that because I am not from Albany. I am not a Wall Street insider, so I'm in a unique position to be able to make sure that everyone on Wall Street plays by the rules. And we need to put the office back on the side of consumers. Andrew Cuomo has begun to go down that path, making the office not just about being the sheriff of Wall Street, but about every single New Yorker here and fighting on behalf of every single New Yorker. So we need to, and I vow to protect women's reproductive health. civil rights, social justice, the environment, leveling the playing field for everyone. That is why it's so important for this office to remain in Democratic hands, and that is why I'm running, and very humbly asking for your support. Thank you very much.